All right, Gennady Golovkin, Canelo Alvarez press event. I mean, what do we call it? I don't know. It's like a satellite media thing. Now, apparently, these two guys hate each other. There's so much tension between them. They cannot be in the same roof or in the same room, under the same roof. Tensions are high. Now, I believe, okay, I believe it's all about money. I think that, they wanted to do away with the media tour, typically going to Mexico, New York, Vegas, wherever they may go to, and it's probably more about money and training, that kind of thing. So, I don't know, but there is real tension now. Okay, the little media event they had here, I don't know what to call it, satellite event. You basically had, Team Canelo on one side, Team Golovkin on the other. Let's see, I got a couple of pictures I can show you guys. Yeah, right here, Team Canelo on the left, Team Golovkin on the right. And there's a guy, a mediator or whatever, asking questions. Now, he was kind of like trying to put each guy against the other. He would be like, okay, Oscar, he brought up the tweet. He said, you said Golovkin is, hashtag scared, hashtag sign the contract, and how would you like to respond to that, Golovkin? It was a lot of that. And, so he tried. Now, like I said, there wasn't really many highlights. There was a couple things that kind of surprised me. A few questions got answered. We'll go over them. I'm basically going to read you the questions and tell you, how they replied. I don't know, I'm not going to read everything. I took a lot of notes, but, we'll kick it off. And one thing I want to talk about too is the demeanor of Golovkin, very serious demeanor, that kind of thing. So let me kick it off here. Okay. Oscar De La Hoya, he starts out, thanking the fans, and Team Golovkin, said it will be round 13. First thing I immediately noticed was Triple G's demeanor, okay? And he seemed angry, uncomfortable, a little bit pissed off, maybe, I don't know. He had a really intense vibe about him. Okay, then they go to Tom Loeffler. Okay, let me find a picture of Tommy Boy. I know I got one, maybe. Maybe, shit. Maybe I don't. Okay, but anyway, there he is, yeah. They go to Tom Loeffler, and it says Triple G has started his training camp and is training in a way to, not, basically he's not going to depend on the judges. Now, it's kind of a repeat. We heard all of this before, but there seems to be a little bit of validity to what we're hearing now because, now, there's emotions involved, right? It's more about legacy, honor, pride, things like this. Okay, and this was kind of funny. Tom Loeffler said, Gennady Golovkin is the champion. If Canelo wants to be a champion, he actually has to fight and win. Obviously, I took that. It's kind of a slap to Canelo, right? He was referring to the diva demands that we all are aware of, certain order, Canelo coming out last, to the ring walk, the temperature at T-Mobile Arena, the music and what kind of freaking hot dog sauce and the brand of water they sell, all the little diva demands that I'm sure he demanded, but and they don't waste any time whatsoever, talking about the clenbuterol. Okay, this dude here, right here, first question out of the box, just bam, clenbuterol, right? The first damn question to Canelo, okay? He says, let's see, question, blah, 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 blah. What happened? What would you like to say to the public about the clenbuterol, okay? And Canelo said, no reason to talk about it. It's in the past. I did this for the fans, and I promise a much better fight. I mean, what a just politically correct statement, way to dodge it, way to phone it in, right? No need to talk about it, water under the bridge, let's talk about the fight. It's going to be a much better fight. Okay, next question goes to Gennady Golovkin. They asked, well, how disappointed were you, basically that the fight didn't happen in May, okay? They asked Golovkin this, and again, this demeanor I keep talking about right here, okay? And everyone was disappointed in Canelo. This is what Golovkin said. Everyone was disappointed in Canelo. I was disappointed in Canelo. The fans were disappointed. But we should all be happy now. Okay, he's saying, we got the fight. We should all be happy. Yes, the world was disappointed in Canelo. And, and like I said, to me, they're really going after Canelo. And then the question number 2, which is one of my favorites, he says, he's like, oh, Gennady Golovkin, do you really believe it was contaminated meat? And Gennady Golovkin said, first of all, I respect the level of fighter that is Canelo. It was not my decision to disqualify him, but it doesn't matter right now. Okay, then they go to Abel Sanchez. Same question for Abel. And, at first, Abel kind of held back a little bit, kind of held his punches a little bit, I noticed. Here, let me get you guys a picture of Abel. Here we go. Kind of held back, but towards the end, Abel was getting a little bit pissed off. So he said, Team Canelo made a mistake. The commission said he was innocent of any wrongdoing. So we have to go with that and focus on the fight. Okay, back to Gennady Golovkin. What were you trying to prove in your Vanez-Marty Rosen fight? Gennady Golovkin said, I needed to stay active. Then they asked Canelo if he watched the fight, and Canelo said, yes, of course. He's my next opponent, but you can't call that a fight. Okay, he is not on Golovkin's level. And I thought that was a little bit of respect from Canelo. He said, yes, I watched it, but he's not on Golovkin's level. So, they asked Oscar De La Hoya about the negotiations. He immediately said, and he keeps like repeating himself, right? Saying, Canelo is the A side, right? Canelo is the ace. I hate when he says that. He's like, all of Mexico is behind him. Everywhere I go, people are cheering for Canelo. They basically, want him to knock Golovkin out, so which again, there's a lot, I don't believe it. I'm sure there are a portion of the fans that come up to Oscar and because he's a big megastar, they're going to say whatever they think he wants to hear, right? But if anyone's being honest, they'll tell him the truth. That's what I personally think, And something I liked, Oscar brought up Hagler-Hearns. Had the Hagler-Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard fight, he said, we don't want history to repeat itself. We need a rematch, right? So I like that because we know the whole if you know your boxing history, Hagler-Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard, it was pretty much like the first Canelo-Golovkin fight. I mean, almost identical, right? You had Sugar Ray Leonard fighting the same style of fighting Canelo did. Hagler coming forward, that kind of thing. Both guys thought they won. Both guys thought he thought he was cheated. Hagler thought he was cheated. So I like that he, brought up that little bit of history. That was kind of nice. Now, Tom Loeffler goes on to say, Triple G is a champion. We don't care who walks in first or whose name is at the top of a poster, right? And I wonder, was that actually a demand? Like, did Canelo say that he wants his name at the top of a poster? Like, I wonder if that was like a real actual demand, from Canelo. Now, right here, Golovkin, he kind of chimes in. He says, look, I don't believe all of Mexico, will be rooting for Canelo. And they ask Canelo, do you think all of Mexico will be rooting for you? Because Golovkin doesn't. And again, they're trying to, get each other to argue, right? They are really, they're just really trying to turn each guy against them. And Canelo says, there may be some Mexican fans that support Gennady Golovkin, but I have no respect for him. Woo, burn. Here we go. I'm like, all right, it's heating up. And this is actually one of the highlights, okay? Because, he says, like, whatever, I don't care. I don't have any respect for him. Meaning Gennady Golovkin. And, I thought about this, right? I thought about it. I was like, well, why? I don't understand, like, why would Canelo, not have any respect for Golovkin? Like, what did he do? Like, I don't get it. He said, it's been lost, meaning the respect has been lost. Come September 15th, I will prove it. He will see. Okay. Oscar said the little respect Canelo had for Golovkin is out the window. Okay. It's out the window. I think a knockout will happen because of this. Okay. He's saying that Canelo is so pissed off right now that, a knockout is coming because the respect is gone. That ship sailed, hasta la vista. It's gone, right? Now, Tom said to Oscar, make sure to tell Canelo less Mexican meat and more Mexican style. What? Less Mexican meat and more. Oh my God. To me, that was the best part of the whole damn thing. Like, I could make that like my ringtone on my phone. He said, tell Canelo, less Mexican meat and more Mexican style. Man, that should be, you got to put that on a t-shirt, like, for real. So, and then he said, make sure Canelo gets it right this time around. I was like, ooh, damn, like, and you could just feel the tension, right? They're kind of zooming in on Canelo, zooming in on him, and it's like the tension was, rising. But like I said, Gennady Golovkin maintained that face, that resting face the entire time. Okay, then they bring up the infamous tweet. Okay, let me get to it here, right here. Okay, they bring up this tweet. Okay. It says, in the meantime, Gennady Golovkin box making $3 million, Canelo making $40 million, without you. Sign the contract. Hashtag scared. Hashtag stop crying. Blah blah blah. And they said, well, Golovkin, how do you respond? He basically just said, shut the hell up. Like, no one cares what Oscar says. Shut the hell up. So then they brought up all the comments Canelo made in the media, like, I'll prove it with my fist. I'm going to rip off his head. That kind of thing. And then Abel brought up a good point, like I brought up in a lot of my videos. Okay, he said, look, we heard it all before. We heard it all before. We heard it in the original fight. And he said, Oscar, if he wants to knock out Golovkin, he can't run. He must stand and fight. And if he stands and fights, he's going to get KO'd. If Canelo stands and fight, he's getting knocked out. Okay, and he would have been knocked out the first time if he didn't make it a track meet. So it's like, wow. I mean, wow. But then they asked Canelo about the running, okay, straight up running, right? According to Triple G's camp, you were never willing to engage, okay? You didn't stand and fight. What do you have to say about that? Canelo said, he said, I did what I set out to do. I did what I trained to do. That was our strategy. Now, I thought that was very, very, very interesting. He said, I did what I set out to do. That was your strategy was to run, right? I mean, he admits it right here. They asked him verbatim, why did you run? He said that was our strategy. I trained. That's what we trained to do. Okay. But, he follows up, of course, but in a rematch, there'll be no running. Okay. Now, Canelo is promising over and over and over again in a rematch, there will be no running. Okay. Now, they asked Gennady Golovkin about the running. He said it's up to Canelo in a rematch. If he comes to fight, I will be there. I'll fight. So, really, the ball is in Canelo's court. We know Gennady Golovkin is going to come forward. And there are times where Golovkin will, he'll come in range, he'll jump back, he'll jump back a little bit, to kind of get out of a way of a punch, out of the danger zone. That's okay. That's boxing. There's a difference in, lateral movement, using your footwork, that kind of thing, and running. Okay. So now, they asked Chepo about Abel Sanchez calling Canelo a cheater. They said, what do you think about that? Chepo said, Abel talks too much. He tries to be the star, basically. He needs to be quiet, learn to be quiet. Our job as cornermen, are basically, to be quiet and let the fighters, enjoy the spotlight. So they go back to Oscar and ask, why do you see, or what do you see different in the Canelo camp? He said his training is different. He's stronger, faster. You're going to see the best Canelo. All Golovkin does is come forward and fight. Canelo is going to show you many different things. And I thought that was really interesting, okay? They're saying, they're basically kind of revealing his plan. But they asked Gennady Golovkin if you have lost respect for Canelo because he lost respect for you. Triple G said, I respect all fighters, but they lost respect from the fans and the community. But at the end, we should be able to shake hands. Now, Golovkin is saying, look, at the end of the day, we should be able to shake hands. So they asked Canelo the same question, why is it personal? What is your problem with Golovkin? Canelo said, they have disrespected me, everything they said, all of their actions. Now it is personal. Okay. Then they give Canelo a chance to address Abel directly. Okay. They said, he's listening to you now. If you got to say anything, say it now. Canelo said, I have nothing to say to him. He knows what I think of him. So, all right. Abel said Canelo's actions have cost Golovkin a lot of time, money, and heartache. He said Canelo is an excellent fighter. Hopefully he delivers on September 15th. And hopefully this isn't all talk. right? It isn't all talk. Now, Triple G, is there anything you would like to say to Canelo? Canelo, Golovkin said, we both need to be ready so we can, basically give the fans what they deserve, because the original fight, it delivered, but it didn't. Okay, they asked Canelo, okay, would you like to say anything to Golovkin? Canelo said, nothing, we will see you September 15th. That's it. He's like, we will see you September 15th. That's all he said. So, okay. Then they asked, why are we in separate places? Like, what the hell? This is like some mafia shit, babe. Like, why, it was, and I'm kind of wondering the same thing too. Like, is there like a restraining order or something? And they asked Canelo, they said, why aren't you guys in the same room? And he said, it's better this way. We're going to see each other on the 15th. They asked Canelo the same question, why don't you want to be in the same room as Golovkin? He said, we'll see each other on the 15th. That's all. It's like, I will assure you of that. It's just like, really? It's kind of weird, so, now, they asked Canelo about the knee brace, and he basically says, it's just a knee brace, nothing big, that kind of thing. But I think there's a little bit more to it than that. I think, his knee is giving him problems. So in the last fight, Triple G outlanded. Now, they talked, one of the media guys called in and asked Canelo a direct question, which I would love to ask him. They said, in the last fight, Triple G outlanded by 49 punches and outthrew you by 198. Do you feel you need to increase your work rate to win a rematch? They asked Canelo. Yes, that's a part of the plan. We're going to throw more punches because, go look at the stats. According to CompuBox, Golovkin outlanded him by 49 and outthrew him by 198. I mean, that is a significant difference, a huge difference. So, how can you deny that, that Golovkin won? I mean, on that fact alone, So, like I said, I just wanted to give you guys the full press event. And that's pretty much it. The highlights would be, I would say Canelo, he's talking like he has no respect for Golovkin, which, again, I don't understand why. I mean, Golovkin has been a gentleman. He's been respectful. You know why? Because he gave his opinion. Like, dude, you get caught, you get busted for clenbuterol, for PEDs, and the guy, gives an opinion. And now you got a problem with that? Like, how about this? How about being accountable for your actions? How about being a man, and take responsibility for your actions? How about that? See, that's what men do. That's what real, responsible men, stand-up men do. Okay, instead of getting mad and pointing the finger at other people when you yourself as an individual do something wrong. Okay, it's just being accountable for your own actions. I mean, that's it. At the end of the day, that's what it is. So, anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it at the guy. Look, I'm sorry to make it so long, but it was like an hour and 30 minutes. I mean, I basically broke it down for you in like 17 minutes. So, tell me what you think. Leave your comment below.